Episode 2 begins with Joe super excited after setting up his first date with Beck, and he decides to go over to her apartment and stalk her. And it's revealed that Beck has bought a new phone, and Joe can actually see her messages because her old phone is still linked up to the cloud. And he will find out that she is still trying to call Benji, which upset Joe because he thought he took care of that. He realizes that more work will need to be done. Beck almost notices Joe, but he quickly hides before she can see him. Afterward, Joe ends up going to his job to get ready for the new book release of Stephen King's new book. That happens the next day. He goes down to the basement where Benji is waiting. Joe gives Benji a everything bagel, but Benji complains about his allergy. Joe pulls out a bag of drugs, and Benji claims that they are not his, which is a total lie. Joe asked if people in Benji's life knows that he does drugs, like his girlfriend. Benji claims he doesn't have a girlfriend, but then it clicks in his head. Then he remembers that Joe was the one in the cab, and he remembers his name. Joe realizes that this is a problem. Benji can't believe that it's all about Guinevere Beck, and Joe is trying to figure out what to do with Benji. After that, Joe will shoot Beck a email asking if they're still on for a night, and Beck confirms it. But as they are on their date, it cuts short as she receives a call about Benji, and Joe pretends to be understanding, but he's really mad. Joe wants to find out more about Benji, so he decides to quiz Benji on stuff he likes and all this. Joe knows that Benji ain't looking so notices that Benji isn't looking so good. And Benji says it's because he took his stash, confirming it was his drugs. So, Joe decides to make a deal with Benji. He'll give him a hit if he gets the password to Benji's phone. And because Benji is a addict, he agrees to it. And afterwards, he passes out, and Joe staged a photo and sent it to Beck so she would stop messages in. But, so pretty much all that's going to be relatively the same. But one thing I am adding, we're going to show it from her perspective and like show really how upset Beck is for, Benji and what she thinks the picture actually was. So, but, and then we're going to get the actual scene that we got in the show with her friends. Benji, after sobering up, will tell him that he doesn't know Beck like Benji does. We get that scene with the professor, and that will be pretty much the same. So after that scene, there will be a call, or we'll call Joe, who gets to the bar. Beck will call Joe, and that will all be the same. He rushes out because his phone was ringing, and he didn't want to draw attention that he was actually there. He says he'll be there in 15 minutes. Of course, he's already there. So after that 15 minutes, he arrives and then talks to Beck. She invites him to a party, which he will say yes, I'm going. We have the book release The place is packed. Joe needs to go get some more books from the basement, but he was told that Paco grabbed his keys and went to go get them. Joe runs down there to stop him. I'm making 2 changes. One, just a minor one. When Joe catches up to Paco, he will pull him back up a bit, and then, he'll still yell at him, but he pretty much pulls him up so he will not see Benji. The second one is after Paco runs upstairs, Benji will hear the commotion and yell for help. But by that point, the door is already closed, and of course the basement's soundproof. After the release party, Joe goes downstairs and Benji tells him to kill him. But Benji doesn't want to kill anybody, so he makes him a deal. If he could tell Joe which one is his soda, then he will pretty much he'll let Benji go. Benji agrees and tries them and says none are him and they're all just generic soda. But Joe confirms that they are all his. So, he did not get set free. But so Benji breaks down and says that Joe wins, but Joe said that there are no winners because he doesn't know what to do with him. The conversation turned to Beck, and Benji said that she will never want to go out with a guy like him. But Joe says that she invited him to a party, and Benji says to Joe that he is just an accessory, and when Joe heads to the party, that is all he's thinking about. And when he enters, Joe knows that this is not his scene. But the party will play pretty much the same. Joe will get introduced to Peaches before she will steal Beck and leave Joe to his own. Joe will end up finding himself in the library, and they would have that scene with Peaches and him. And he will still, of course, take the book, just like in the actual show. We will get the scene on the balcony, and that whole scene will be the same. Everything from the party, he will still run into someone that knew his ex, and they'll all be the same. He'll return to his apartment and apologize to Paco before it's revealed that it was already hinted at, but actually revealed they stole the Wizard of Oz and gave it to Paco, and even showed him a place to hide it. The next day, Beck goes to try to get her TA position back, but the professor says he can't. So she revealed that she got contacts with several other women that he has done that to, and she tells him that she's not bluffing. Joe wakes up and remembers that he left Benji for way too long, and when he returned, Benji is yelling at him, saying that that Joe left him to die, before telling Joe that there's the flash drive, because Benji knows Joe's dark secret, and the flash drive has Benji's dark secret, so that could grant him his freedom. So Joe will go get the flash drive and confirm that it's pretty damning. He will head back to the flash drive, or back to the store after a look at the flash drive. We'll have that scene with Beck as they make out. Afterward, Joe would go down and give him a latte. Benji asked if he'd granted freedom. Joe said that The flash drive was pretty damning, but he doesn't know if he can trust him. And then, all of a sudden, Benji starts choking because Joe put peanut oil in a drink, and Benji dies. And that is where episode 2 would end.